Apple Inc. is an American multinational corporation and technology company headquartered in Cupertino, California, in Silicon Valley. It is best known for its consumer electronics, software, and services. Founded in 1976 as Apple Computer Company by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne, the company was incorporated by Jobs and Wozniak as Apple Computer Inc. the following year. It was renamed Apple Inc. in 2007 as the company had expanded its focus from computers to consumer electronics. Apple is the largest technology company by revenue, with $391.04 billion in the 2024 fiscal year. The company was founded to produce and market Wozniak's Apple I personal computer. Its second computer, the Apple II, became a bestseller as one of the first mass-produced microcomputers. Apple introduced the Lisa in 1983 and the Macintosh in 1984 as some of the first computers to use a graphical user interface and a mouse. By 1985, internal company problems led to Jobs leaving to form Next Inc. In the 1990s, Apple lost considerable market share in the personal computer industry to the lower-priced Wintel duopoly of the Microsoft Windows operating system on Intel-powered PC clones. In 1997, Apple was weeks away from bankruptcy. To resolve its failed operating system strategy, it bought Next, effectively bringing Jobs back to the company, who guided Apple back to profitability over the next decade with the introductions of the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad devices to critical acclaim, as well as the iTunes Store, launching the Think Different advertising campaign, and opening the Apple Store retail chain. These moves elevated Apple to consistently be one of the world's most valuable brands since about 2010. Jobs resigned in 2011 for health reasons and died 2 months later. He was succeeded as CEO by Tim Cook. Apple became the first publicly traded US company to be valued at over $1 trillion in 2018, and as of December 2024 is valued at just over $3.74 trillion. 1980 to 1990, success with Macintosh. In 1984, Apple launched the Macintosh, the first personal computer without a bundled programming language. Its debut was signified by 1984, a $1.5 million television advertisement directed by Ridley Scott that aired during the third quarter of Super Bowl XVIII on January 22, 1984. This was hailed as a watershed event for Apple's success and was called a masterpiece by CNN and one of the greatest TV advertisements of all time by TV Guide. In early 1985, this sales slump triggered a power struggle between Steve Jobs and CEO John Sculley, who had been hired away from Pepsi 2 years earlier by Jobs saying, "Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or come with me and change the world?" Sculley removed Jobs as the head of the Macintosh division, with unanimous support from the Apple board of directors. 1997 to 2007, return to profitability. The next acquisition was finalized on February 9, 1997, and the board brought Jobs back to Apple as an advisor. On July 9, 1997, Jobs staged a boardroom coup that resulted in Emilio's resignation after overseeing a 3-year record low stock price and crippling financial losses. The board named Jobs as interim CEO, and he immediately reviewed the product lineup. Jobs cancelled 70% of models, ending 3,000 jobs and paring to the core of its computer offerings. The moves paid off for Jobs. At the end of his first year as CEO, the company had a $309 million profit. In 2003, the iTunes Store was introduced with music downloads for 99 cents, a song and iPod integration. It quickly became the market leader in online music services, with over 5 billion downloads by June 19, 2008. 2 years later, the iTunes Store was the world's largest music retailer. From 2007 to 2011, Apple saw tremendous success with mobile devices. During his keynote speech at the Macworld Expo on January 9, 2007, Jobs announced the renaming of Apple Computer Inc. to Apple Inc. because the company had broadened its focus from computers to consumer electronics. This event also saw the announcement of the iPhone and the Apple TV. The company sold 270,000 first-generation iPhones during the first 30 hours of sales, and the device was called a game changer for the industry. In May 2010, Apple's market cap exceeded that of competitor Microsoft for the first time since 1989. On January 17, 2011, Jobs announced in an internal Apple memo that he would take another medical leave of absence for an indefinite period to allow him to focus on his health. Chief Operating Officer Tim Cook assumed Jobs' day-to-day operations at Apple, although Jobs would still remain involved in major strategic decisions. Apple became the most valuable consumer-facing brand in the world. In June 2011, Jobs surprisingly took the stage and unveiled iCloud, an online storage and syncing service for music, photos, files, and software which replaced MobileMe, Apple's previous attempt at content syncing. This would be the last product launch Jobs would attend before his death. 2011 to present, the post-Jobs era with Tim Cook at the helm. On October 5th, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away, marking the end of an era for Apple. The next major product announcement by Apple came on January 19, 2012, when Apple's Phil Schiller introduced iBooks textbooks for iOS and iBook Author for Mac OS X in New York City. Jobs mentioned in his biography that he aimed to reinvent the textbook industry and education. From 2011 to 2012, Apple released the iPhone 4S and iPhone 5. These models featured improved cameras, an intelligent software assistant named Siri, and cloud sync data with iCloud. During a press event on September 9, 2014, Apple unveiled a smartwatch called the Apple Watch, initially marketing the device as a fashion accessory. At the Apple special event in September 2017, the AirPower wireless charger was announced alongside the iPhone X, iPhone 8, and Watch Series 3. In April 2022, Apple launched an online store that allowed anyone in the US to view repair manuals and order replacement parts for specific recent iPhones, although the cost difference between this method and official repair was expected to be minimal. In May 2022, a trademark was filed for Reality OS, an operating system reportedly intended for virtual and augmented reality headsets, first mentioned in 2017. According to Bloomberg, the headset might come out in 2023. Further insider reports indicated that the device would use iris scanning for payment confirmation and signing into accounts. In March 2023, Apple introduced a buy now, pay later service called Apple Pay Later for its Apple Wallet users. The program allows users to apply for loans between $50 and $1,000 to make online or in-app purchases and repay them in 4 installments over 6 weeks without any interest or fees. In June 2024, Apple introduced Apple Intelligence to integrate on-device artificial intelligence capabilities. On December 31, 2024, a preliminary settlement was filed in the Oakland, California Federal Court. The lawsuit accused Apple of unlawfully recording private conversations through unintentional Siri activations and sharing them with third parties, including advertisers. Apple agreed to a $95 million cash settlement to resolve this lawsuit, in which its Siri assistant was said to have violated user privacy. While denying any wrongdoing, Apple settled the case, allowing affected users to potentially claim up to $20 per device. Attorneys sought $28.5 million in fees from the settlement fund. Jobs' philosophy turned Apple into a success story. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs was not only a great entrepreneur and a visionary, but also a genius. He was one of the first to realize that computers could be used for more than just simple calculations, but also as an interface for people. Steve Jobs was not only responsible for creating one of the most successful companies in history, but he also had an important role in shaping his role as a CEO and executive. He was also very involved in other aspects of Apple's business, such as marketing and product design. The first thing that you will notice about Steve Jobs is his simplicity and directness. He doesn't waste time on fancy words or complicated sentences. He knows that only simple words can convey his message well enough to attract people to buy his products. Apple is a company that is known for creating products that are not only user-friendly, but also highly functional. The company has always been a leader in the tech industry, and it has been able to do so thanks to its ability to innovate. Steve Jobs was a visionary who created his own philosophy. He believed in what he was doing, and he did it with conviction. His philosophy was that Apple should focus on being more of a lifestyle brand with an identity on its own. It should provide its consumers with great experiences that people can enjoy by using their products. The secrets of Apple's success story lie in its culture of innovation and design. One of the primary reasons for Apple's success is its focus on innovation and design. The company has a team of designers and engineers who work tirelessly to create products that are not only functional but also aesthetically pleasing. Apple's design philosophy is to create products that are simple, intuitive, and easy to use. This philosophy has been reflected in all its products, from the iPhone to the Apple Watch. Apple has a diverse product line that caters to a wide range of consumers. The company's product line includes iPhones, iPads, Macs, Apple Watches, Apple TV, AirPods, and more. By diversifying its product line, Apple has been able to appeal to a broader customer base, from tech enthusiasts to casual users. Apple has strategic partnerships with various companies, including Nike, Hermes, and IBM. These partnerships have helped Apple to expand its product line and tap into new markets. For example, the partnership with Nike has resulted in the creation of the Apple Watch Nike Plus, which is specifically designed for runners. The biggest secret to Apple's success isn't about big and extravagant ideas, but of simplicity. Apple makes every project and idea into successful campaigns and products by distilling them to their essence. Keeping things simple was Steve Jobs' way of dealing and making success out of projects and ideas. He called it the simple stick. When things are simple, they're quicker and better. The simple stick is the symbol of Apple's core value. In some ways, it also acts as an inspiration, or, depending on the situation, a heavy hand to impose the power of simplicity. The simple stick is not only for products and ideas, they're also visible in the management and environment that Apple provides to their clients and employees. Simplicity allows a direct focus on whatever campaign or product a company wants to promote, highlighting all its best quality, thus ensuring customer engagement. In addition, Apple's core value of simplicity touches on clarity and thinking human. Instead of putting too many in one basket, Steve Jobs and Apple believed that the best way to look smart is to express an idea with simplicity and clarity. Saying a great deal by saying little, that means effectively communicating with simple sentences and words in a relatable, natural way. Consistency in customer service and in-store experiences or user experience. One of the most notable is its ability to become complex despite having products that are easy to use. Due to this, companies in the tech industry experience clients and customers who require guidance in using their products for some time. Is making the most out of customer service and continuously improving their customers' in-store experiences. Apple believes that the best way to fight the complexities people use technology is to be more accommodating to their confusion by guiding them to resolve that problem. Tech-related companies have already inserted retail stores for their products since the early 2000s. News today. This consistency in customer service and in-store experiences is one of the reasons for their massive customer following, loyalty, and engagement. Apple users are confident that the company is there to guide them in dealing. It has a long history of changing its marketing strategy with each new release. They have been able to keep their brand fresh and appealing for many years now. Apple has also managed to stay relevant and interesting in terms of the current market trends, which means that they have a wide variety of products on their shelves. Strong brand image and customer loyalty. Apple has a massive and loyal customer base that is willing to pay a premium for its products. The company has built a reputation for quality, reliability, and customer service, which has led to a high level of customer satisfaction. Apple's customers are also more likely to purchase additional products from the company, creating a loyal and growing customer base. However, Apple started to focus more on its brand image and how it makes people feel. Conclusion. In the course of 48 years, Apple has consistently been among the world's most innovative and successful technology companies. They built an empire of consumer electronics, which included a vast array of products for home use and for business users, including compact discs, laptops, and mobile phones. In order to stay at the top of its game, Apple has always been on the lookout for new ways to set itself apart from every other tech brand. Apple started with a simple goal in mind: to make computers more elegant and easy to use. They wanted everyone to be able to enjoy the new features of computers. So they created highly intuitive software that could not only run well, but also provide great experiences for users. Innovation is what Apple does best, creating products that nobody had ever imagined possible before they were created, and making sure that these products are not only comfortable, but also enjoyable for users. By understanding Apple's way to success, you can apply the same approach to your own businesses, focusing on delivering great experiences for your clients.
Marketing is about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. And we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. And so we have to be really clear on what we want them to know about us. Now, Apple, fortunately, is one of the half a dozen best brands in the whole world. Right up there with Nike, Disney, Coke, Sony. It is one of the greats of the greats. Not just in this country, but all around the globe. But even a great brand needs investment and caring if it's going to retain its relevance and vitality. And the Apple brand has clearly suffered from neglect in this area in the last few years. And we need to bring it back. The way to do that is not to talk about speeds and feeds. It's not to talk about MIPS and megahertz. It's not to talk about why we're better than Windows. The dairy industry tried for 20 years to convince you that milk was good for you. It's a lie, but they tried anyway. And the sales were going like this. And then they tried Gaint milk, and the sales are going like this. Gaint milk doesn't even talk about the product. Matter of fact, it focuses on the absence of the product. But the best example of all, and one of the greatest jobs of marketing in the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet, when you think of Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, as you know, they don't ever talk about the product. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do in their advertising? They honor great athletes and they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they are about. Apple spends a fortune on advertising. You'd never know it. You'd never know it. So, when I got here, Apple just fired their agency. We're doing a competition with 23 agencies that, 4 years from now, to pick one. And we blew that up, and we hired Shite, the ad agency that I was fortunate enough to work with years ago. We created some award-winning work, including the commercial voted the best ad ever made in 1984 by advertising professionals. And we started working about 8 weeks ago. And the question we asked was, our customers want to know who is Apple and what is it that we stand for? Where do we fit in this world? And what we're about isn't making boxes for people to get their jobs done, although we do that well. We do that better than almost anybody in some cases. But Apple's about something more than that. Apple, at the core, its core value, is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe. And we've had the opportunity to work with people like that. We've had an opportunity to work with people like you, with software developers, with customers who have done it in some big and some small ways. And we believe that in this world, people can change it for the better. And that those people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do. And so what we're going to do in our first brand marketing campaign in several years is to get back to that core value. A lot of things have changed. The market's a totally different place than it was a decade ago. And Apple's totally different, and Apple's place in it is totally different. And believe me, the products and the distribution strategy and the manufacturing are totally different, and we understand that. But values and core values, those things shouldn't change. The things that Apple believed in at its core are the same things that Apple really stands for today. And so we wanted to find a way to communicate this. And what we have is something that I'm very moved by. It honors those people who have changed the world. Some of them are living, some of them are not. But the ones that aren't, as you'll see, you know that if they'd ever used a computer, it would have been a Mac. And the theme of the campaign is Think Different. It's the people, honoring the people who think different and who move this world forward. And it is what we are about. It touches the soul of this company. So I'm going to go ahead and roll it, and I hope that you feel the same way about it I do.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do